The Bunzerelly Show.
With a few months away, we continue our journey to Infinity War, this time with Venom coming in October. There's been a lot of controversy surrounding the teaser, but me and Kevin get into a deep discussion, and I throw out my theory as to why we had that disappointing teaser and how I think it might tie into Infinity War. Let me throw my Venom theory out what's on the tip of my tongue.
Yes.
As we've talked about this, I just want to put it out there on tape because this one, I for some reason, I really believe in it. I believe because of the pieces because, okay, the Venom teaser came out and it was just, we know the reaction to it because it looked like a solid movie.
It looks like a solid, like just movie.
No, exactly. You're like, but you're not like, this is so, because you're like, why no Venom? And it was like the fan backlash, and that was the big news. But it was such big news that it's in the news and since media. And what if this is the biggest punk? Because, first of all, Sony had a history of bad decisions. Like Amazing Spider-Man 2, they're already trying to like build universes, and they're like setting up the Sinister Six movie with no plan.
Okay, so when you bring that up, it's funny because you get two different versions, two different studios. So I liked Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man.
I did too.
The first one was awesome.
Yes.
The second one, but it was good still. I liked him as that character.
It followed the same promise Spider-Man 3, I believe. They tried to cram in complex storylines, but I did like Emma Stone better than Mary Jane.
Yeah, I
like the dynamic better.
I like the chemistry too. I thought they were a lot better on screen together. I mean, I loved William Dafoe's Green Goblin, yes. But the guy who played Green Goblin in Amazing Spider-Man 2, his character was cool. Like, I liked how like crazy he got.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you get like the Gwen Stacy death scene, which was pretty cool. But that movie was setting up Sinister Six. Because you saw you saw Rhino, you got the Green Goblin, you saw all the other Doc Ock, stuff. You saw everything to start that movie. Then you look at how Marvel does it, and they started their own Sinister Six.
You're right. You
see, what's his name in prison?
Yeah, the Vulture.
And Vulture, who was by far one of my favorite villains for Spider-Man. Like, he kills it. Michael Keaton's a genius. He's in prison, and he walks up to the guy, and that guy kind of gives you that feel that he's
Scorpion. Yes.
So you already are introduced to Vulture, a Scorpion, and now you're potentially going to get Venom. Mm-hmm. So it's like Marvel's kind of doing their own type of deal.
Yeah.
Where it's like, and it's so coincidental. Both scenes are like in a prison too.
Yeah,
because the one Mr. White guy from Amazing Spider-Man 2, and then you see the Vulture. He's just getting to prison, and he bumps into Scorpion. So I think they did it two separate ways. So I think Marvel's kind of building their own type of deal. And like I said, I think if Spider-Man is in the Venom movie, it'll play really well. But go back to your theory.
Well, the news that they were giving us when this Venom announcement first came, it was almost like they were leading us in that direction that Marvel didn't want nothing to do with it. Because Sony was saying, oh, it's going to be its own universe, not with Spider-Man's universe. Like, nothing made sense what they were saying. Because it's like, well, he has a spider on his chest and he swings around, but he has nothing to do with Spider-Man. Like, that's the part that's a little weird. Like, And even if you skip the black costume storyline, I could be okay with that. But that alien has to come in contact with Spider-Man for at least a second to at least like get his genetic. So my theory is here's my theory. And let me go back. So my theory is we know from what we've seen from the Infinity War footage, Spider-Man is going to end up out in space. He's going to. He's on that spaceship. A lot of it looks like he's involved with that spaceship by himself before he catches up with the other guys, from what we see. They are on an alien planet, okay? Even if it's a brief glimpse. But here's the thing. That would be the Venom reveal. Because we're all getting told that nothing has nothing to do with each other and Marvel doesn't care. Which, really, Marvel, you don't care what Sony's doing at all? That does not sound right. Like, you guys worked out everything except this, like the Venom thing. So what I'm saying is like... Because now all of a sudden you've taken Venom off the list of villains Marvel could use. That's the weird part about it. You know what I mean? Like, somebody can't be like, oh, we take this one. So what I'm saying is, what if the reveal is this? Is like, all we got to see is a little black goo get on Spider-Man, And that's it. That's our Venom reveal. Because all of a sudden, like, oh, like that's the part where everybody's going to flip. That would be the surprise because you would know. And then this comes out in May. So the full trailer for Venom would be shortly after that, I think.
Yeah,
Venom's October.
Venom's October.
So what I'm saying is, after Infinity War, people are all heated from that, and then you show us Venom. Still don't show us the Spider-Man connection, but we just know from that little glimpse of Infinity War, that's what I'm saying. If they did that, doesn't mean they're going to, but if they did that, that would blow people's minds.
I don't know. I hope that Sony wouldn't just be like, hey, we're going to make a Venom movie and let's not tell Marvel.
No, but like we don't need Marvel. Kind of like,
no, I don't want Sony to say that because they have a history of screwing it up.
Even like when you go to, and I forgot to bring this up too, from the universes, if you go to the Quicksilver thing, remember Marvel did the same thing. Like, and it was, who was it? Who directed X-Men? I forget. Brett Ratner.
Yeah, one of them.
No, Bryan Singer.
Bryan Singer. I think Brett Ratner has done one too.
So they show Quicksilver in the Avengers trailer, and then all of a sudden, like, Bryan Singer released a tweet like, before he was an X-Men, or before he was with the Avengers, he was an X-Men, Quicksilver. And then, they said to Marvel, like, what do you know about Fox doing Quicksilver? Like, they're doing their thing, we're doing our thing. Because they both had the rights.
Not going to lie, Fox's Quicksilver was way better.
Yeah, way better. And I thought that too, if they merged the universes, use Fox's Quicksilver. Like, definitely use Fox.
Please, for the love of God,
make him Scarlet Witch's brother.
And I think Marvel agreed with that. Like, they saw the reaction to the movie and was like, wow, they really love that guy's Quicksilver.
Got nothing. We better.
He's like, let's kill this dude off.
Yeah, that was like a last minute decision. Like, his scene wasn't as good. We're not going to get any better than this.
Yeah, so
the only reason why I have this Venom theory to go back is because I can't see how they made this trailer and a bunch of studio execs are looking at that trailer and they're like, nobody was like, that's it? Like, it just seems like it's got to be part of a plan.
Well, like I said, like I had friends who told me they hated the trailer.
Yeah.
Because it looked like it's just a regular generic, like, this dude's mad at the world type movie. And I'm hoping that it's not like that. And it goes back to like a room full of executives and like, hey, we're going to show you what we got for the Venom trailer. But there hasn't been anything. Like, they dropped the trailer, but like months before, Tom Hardy has been doing, they did I don't think it was in like overseas in like the UK. I think it was somewhere else. And they did like they went into like the theater and like showed them a clip of something. And it wasn't the trailer.
Uh-huh.
But it was the director and Tom Hardy. And like, Tom Hardy's come out and said that he like wants to do a good Venom movie. Like, he wants to keep it true. He wants to keep it, Venom movie.
Well, if he is a fan, maybe he's got that same thing that Ryan Reynolds had, where he's just gonna like make sure it's not dumb.
I mean, I like Tom Hardy. I mean, from like, take away for like the Bane role, which like for the Bane role, he killed it. His voice isn't his decision. That's just what they gave him to do.
Oh, I love that Bane voice.
He was big. He was bulky. Like that. Like, I want that kind of body style for Venom. Which like the trailer doesn't really portray that, but the trailer kind of makes it look like this dude's just got issues. You don't know what they are. So we'll see how it plays. I'm excited for it. Like, I think it'll be an interesting movie for October. It'd be just like, it's going to come out like Friday the 13th or like Halloween.
Yeah.
Or something like that in October. I just like, and I have my theories too. Like, I think bits and parts of the scenes, like you see the symbiote like fluid or like in like goo.
Yeah, they show that
in the scene, and it's like in a lab and it's like sticking to the wall and everything. So somewhere they get it. And then somehow I think it gets in contact with, his character, Eddie Brock.
Yes.
And somehow it gets on his character, and I think that's where you start seeing the scenes where he's in like the MRI scanner.
Yeah.
And he's like trying to get like checked out, like seeing like what's wrong with me.
Yeah.
And then I think you see that like freak out scene, and that's where like I told you, like you get like that glimpse of like the black suit or the black veins like crawling up his skin, like it's like, I don't like being in this hole.
Yeah.
So I think it'll be, I have a lot of hope for it, because when I think of Spider-Man and like villains that I would love to see him fight, it's Venom, Carnage, Green Goblin. Like that's like my.
If hopefully it ties into Spider-Man, I like I said, I think a lot of red herrings have been thrown at it. Like I can't see it being good for Sony not to time in the Spider-Man.
So I think what was it? It wasn't Homecoming. What did Sony and Marvel agree on to do a movie for?
I've heard
this has already happened. Like they agreed to like joint do it.
I thought it was Homecoming.
Okay, maybe it was Homecoming.
Yeah, Homecoming is it's like this. I heard one version. I've heard a lot of different versions of the deal, but it's something where they both make out. The one I heard that seemed a little far fetched. I don't know if the guy knew exactly what he was talking about, but I'm sure people could look it up. But I heard one where it was like Marvel has complete control over the movie, which I believe that.
When Sony makes it. I can see that.
I think Sony makes the money from the movie, but Marvel gets like the toys or the distribution. Like money-wise, they're splitting something. Somebody gets the toy money, somebody gets the disc. But it's in Sony's interest for Marvel to make it more successful. And it helps Marvel out too because it makes like Infinity War. It makes their universe stronger, despite what happens in that movie. Yeah, Fox got X-Men, but the other thing is everybody forgets about is Fox has Fantastic Four too,
which is dying for a reboot. Which, if like my hope is Sony is the only thing that keeps Sony and Marvel together is Spider-Man.
Yes,
that's the only property they have.
Yeah,
I want Disney and Marvel to get Fox.
Yes,
to get all the other stuff that ties into Marvel, which is Fantastic Four, X-Men.
Yeah, bring that universe
Deadpool,
together.
Bring that whole universe whole. Like, I want Marvel to be complete. And I know that if the Fox deal goes through, Sony is just going to hang on for dear life. Because if Sony loses Spider-Man, where's their money coming from? You don't see Sony making a lot of movies anymore, other than, like, they partner with, like Screen Gems, and they do, like, Resident Evil movies.
Well, I think right now Sony's doing better than they could have done by themselves. Well, Amazing Spider-Man 3 wouldn't have happened. And
no, I think they had planned it. I think they were wanting to do it.
But even if it came out, it would not have been the success Homecoming was. I don't know if Homecoming was the biggest Spider-Man movie. Like, I don't know if it beat the first Spider-Man or 2. No, I mean, 2 is obviously the best. And 2 is my favorite.
Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man movie.
No, it is. I'm just saying, as far as money and everything, but Sony, after Spider-Man 3 and Amazing Spider-Man, after Spider-Man 2, Sony never recaptured that magic. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Spider-Man 3 kind of is a little...
Spider-Man 3, like, the Venom thing was weird. Like, seeing the Venom character was cool, because, like, how else do you make Venom, look cool without implicating, CGI? Mm-hmm. Like, you have to have some. He's an animated almost character, just by the way he moves. I think the character I liked in that movie the most was Sandman, and he got underplayed, unfortunately, because he looked really cool.
Yeah.
And the guy that played him, I don't know it. I think it's
Thomas Hayden Church.
Yes, he looks just like that character, like his build. Like when he's not in Sandman form, he's in human form. He looked like the comic that he like ripped it right from it. But yeah, I think Sony did lose it. Now Sony is playing like we got to hold on to this. So I agree. I think Marvel had like creative control, and Sony made the movie, and then Sony's getting the profits from the video releases, and maybe Marvel's getting the profits from toys, because who knows marketing better than a Disney company?
Yeah.
Like you go to Walmart right now, and their toy section is a giant thing for Black Panther. Like, it's all over the place.
Yeah, you know what? And when I look at it, even like the Spider-Man toy section, I don't see a lot of the tie. Yeah, it looks like it kind of ties more into the Avengers toys than its own thing.
Yeah, he doesn't have his like separate line like back in the day like he used to, yes. Yeah. But now everything ties into like everything sits over there with like the Iron Man and like Thor and Captain America toys. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping that they do somehow include it, because like what's Venom gonna do in a movie? Like, that's my biggest worry, is like, you look at Spider-Man 3, he got the suit because... How did he get the suit in Spider-Man 3? Didn't it just like appear and
a
like
meteor crashed next to him. He was on a date with Mary Jane, and a meteor crashed behind his bike, and the alien hopped on his thing. Like I said, they just
no, that's the comic though.
no, that's the.
Is it?
That's the movie. The comic was a real intricate storyline. The comic was something called Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Where it was like an outer space thing, kind of along the lines of Infinity War.
Okay.
And Spider-Man got the costume, but it was a very fleeting thing where he got the costume. They didn't even mention the alien tendencies. And he actually had the costume for a couple months in Spider-Man before it started showing its signs. Like I said, like the Norman Osborn thing. Some of these storylines are way too intricate to just cram them like that. Whereas that's why I think this Infinity War thing is kind of cool because it's still a little compressed, but at least like, okay, he got the costume here. Now when we see the costume in Venom, it's that costume. That's why I think they should do it there. The problem with the storyline they're using is they're using Lethal Protector is what I've heard. Now the storyline for Lethal Protector is after Venom has been fighting Spider-Man for years. He made some kind of peace with Spider-Man. Oh, it was over Carnage. Because they both joined forces to fight Carnage. So now Venom decides to be a superhero, and he's Lethal Protector. The problem is we haven't had that fight with Spider-Man. So what's the redemption part? That's the part I'm a little confused about.
Okay, so that's what my worry is that you're going to do a movie that is, and they're going, like, the logo, you clearly know is Venom.
Yeah, like they look like they know what Venom's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's like, so wait, like when I think about it, and that's why I was hoping the rumor was like maybe they'll introduce a Carnage, but you have to have Spider-Man in that anyway. And I'm hoping that they have to introduce a Spider-Man because like what's Venom gonna do? Yeah. Like, is he just gonna like rampage, where he's at, and that's just gonna be the movie?
Well, even the shooting webs is something the alien
picks up from Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden the alien starts using its own material to make the webs.
Yeah.
And then Spider-Man's like, oh, sweet, I don't need web shooters anymore. But then, obviously, because the costume knows everything, it just takes all those tricks over to Eddie Brock. That's the weird part if you don't include Spider-Man. It's just one hell of a coincidence. Big white eyes, spider.
I mean, the way you can tie in, like if your theory is sound and, that's how they introduce the Venom material, like the symbiote into it, is that it does come in contact with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it's also coming in contact with a much high-tech suit because when you see Spider-Man in that trailer, he's wearing the new suit, like the metallic Spider-Man suit.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see, like, maybe if it does pick up on everything. And then it carries into the Venom movie. And the interesting thing is, like you said, like, you get that separation, like, Avengers in May, and then you got to wait 4 months to get to a Venom movie.
Yeah, so if they reveal that that's the costume, and it can be very fleeting because I can even almost remember Thanos is beating the crap out of Spider-Man at some point, and it's like he can be just passed out on the ground. It's a black goo just kind of slips in his costume, and you know what I mean. They can work it in and the movie could just go without losing its momentum and footing.
Yeah,
but you would just know. Maybe even later, a surprise, he has a black costume all of a sudden, like whatever. But
well, I don't think they're going to go that far. I don't think you're going to see a black costume, Spider-Man in Infinity War. If you do, I'd be shocked.
No, but I still want the alien to touch him.
Yeah,
just to learn the powers.
Yeah, which is where that spacing comes in. So your theory could be that.
All right, guys, thanks for tuning in, and make sure you check out all our shows on Bunzerelly.com, and we'll see you in a few weeks.